Well, Sean Payton, 15 years in the league, Super Bowl champ, coach of the year, one of the smart offensive guys this league has ever had. He's on Sunday's kickoff. He's at an undisclosed location in one of my favorite cities in America. I'm not going to tell you where, but it's a great place in America, and he'll be back in L.A. in a couple days. So I want to talk about all you offensive coaches, you, Andy Reid, McVay, Shanahan, you all got a little secret sauce. Shanahan's ability to run the football, it's kind of it's amazing to me. When you watch it, do you ever watch their film and think, I got to borrow that, I got to steal that? Like, it feels like that's his secret sauce.
Yeah, we do all the time. I would say a couple things. Typically, we'll have certain teams on a study reel that every week we're cutting up their film and making sure that we're looking at what's up to speed, what's up to date, not just in the run or pass game. It might be red zone, it might be third down. But I think one of the things with Kyle, and when you watch their offense, they do such a good job of stretching the D gap. They really force the ball to the perimeter and force your defense to move horizontally, and then find the creases once everyone's moving east and west.
Right.
Find the north-south creases. They do that as well as anyone.
If you had Garoppolo, do you see value in him?
100%. I like Jimmy Garoppolo, and I've seen a quarterback that obviously we're spoiled because the night before, we all get a chance to watch Mahomes and Brady. Well, not everyone has Patrick and not everyone has Tom Brady. But when you start looking at the players you're playing with and you start building your system around who you have, I think those guys have done a great job with that, particularly to Jimmy Garoppolo's strengths. I think the challenge for them when the season started was their draft pick that they had at quarterback and how he fit in their formula for winning. Because make no mistake, they've won a lot of games. They've been at a Super Bowl. They've been at a championship game. And so when you move up like they did in the first round to make a selection at quarterback, then, man, there's that pressure and sense of urgency to get him up to speed. And I think we never want to see a guy get injured like that. But I think Jimmy in that system is what I feel like is most dangerous for opponents.
Yeah. So, you and Andy Reid are really the elder statesmen of offense. As many of the great coaches all time are defense, I feel like your ability to develop things in Andy Reid's, I think you're just different. And I watched Andy Reid the other day snap it to a tight end, and I thought it's a little cutesy. But do you ever watch that and go, oh, Andy, what do you make of it?
Well, I kind of feel like Andy stole that from us. See if this makes sense, though. When you're in short yardage goal line situations and you're in the shotgun, the defensive linemen will align themselves with a little bit more width and certainly defend the run, but be able to rush the passer. When you're in short yardage or goal line situations and the quarterback is under center and the quarterback sneak is a threat to give up a half a yard or a yard, you take those tackles and you put them in those A-gaps tight to kind of fill those gaps. So the uniqueness of that play is to give the illusion of the shotgun.
Right.
And get the width that you want with your defensive tackles, and then quickly slide somebody up under the center and try to run a quarterback sneak with them playing shotgun formation.
How many times?
A season ago.
Yeah, how many times would you do that Sean, would you do that 30 times at practice before you did it in the game? If you have a trick play, how many times do you do it at practice?
I'd show up maybe twice in a season, and we'd work on it 5 times during the week. It was easier for us because we had Taysom Hill and Taysom was a quarterback, so he was much more comfortable or familiar with putting his hands under center. You weren't starting over, if you will, with a tight end. We had somebody that had a lot of practice at that.
Yeah.
And then at New England last year, in a very close short yardage situation, Breeze in the gun. It wasn't Drew, excuse me. It was Jameis in the gun. And we snuck Taysom under center with a hard count to draw him off sides, and we were able to do that. So you're the focus the night before in the meeting is simply short yardage or goal line, and then you begin to look at all the tape, and then you look for 4 or 5 thoughts that'll get you a yard.
So Kenny Pickett, first game out, 3 picks, whatever. What are realistic expectations? If you ever had a situation with a quarterback and you think to yourself, listen, I got the second best quarterback on the field. We've got to temper expectations. I want to be optimistic and positive. But, I mean, I think Mike Tomlin, like you, a veteran coach, there's things he can't do with the line of scrimmage right now. He just can't. What do you do going into a game with a Kenny Pickett?
Well, look, I think that's the essence of teaching and coaching is looking at his strengths, his weaknesses, and then developing those. I'm quite sure from the evaluation process, and I remember what I heard about Kenny is he's someone that's going to be able to handle some line of scrimmage play checks. Now, he's not going to have the whole library, but I think that whenever there's a change, and we've seen already 3 or 4 changes at quarterback, whether it's been injury related or in this case, performance related, I think immediately that onus falls on us as the coaches to say, hey, he does these things really well. He's comfortable moving the pocket. He's comfortable with the 3-step drop. Let's get him and then really begin to develop the things that he does well. And then I'd take it one step further, and I think they've done this in Dallas. I'd challenge everyone else that's around him now to understand how they've got to perform and up their level. Superman's not walking in the building. He's there. Yeah. And this rookie quarterback is going to play for Pittsburgh, and I think Mike Tomlin will do a great job. But I think it falls on the defense to play better, on the offensive line to play better. It falls on the coaching staff to work on the things that he does well. It doesn't fall on this quarterback. It falls on everyone else that's involved in getting him ready to play and those that are playing around him.
Right now, Denver's offense is indecisive and a little broken. Trent Dilfer came on the other day, and he's a high school coach in Tennessee. He goes, I would put in some movement. He goes, I think over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, I would put in some plays, 6, 8 plays, move him. He goes, its foundation is strong. He goes, but it's not clever. It doesn't make the defense think or pause. If you had Denver and you thought to yourself, listen, I like our foundation, but we got to add some wiggle to this stuff. Is that a 1-week process, Sean? A 2-week, a 3-week? How do you correct flaws?
You correct flaws immediately, and then we don't worry about how long the process is going to take. In other words, I'd want to cut up today. I'd want to cut up of all Russell's pass plays of 30 or more yards from the field. And I'd want to see, are there some schemes that he felt very comfortable with? Like, I know that they did a great job in Seattle of bringing him off of a naked boot and then pulling up. And we all saw that like throwback to Lockett across the field where the ball traveled 60 yards in the air.
Right.
Then I'd want to look at another film of his red zone touchdown passes inside the 20. And so what I'm asking for from assistants is I'm asking for some of his greatest hits and to make sure that we have those song lyrics available. and if not, let's put them in.
Yeah. I'm watching McVay last night, and listen, they drafted a kid, Tutu Atwell. It's not working. Allen Robinson so far is not working. Van Jefferson's hurt. It's basically Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, and that's the offense. And I'm thinking to myself, you can do this smoke and mirror stuff only so long before people figure you out. And like Allen Robinson, right now, he's just not separating. Are there tricks? What do you do when you're in a season? You don't have a ton of draft capital. You're up against the cap. You're in a tough division. You got to make Allen Robinson work. It's a 3-year deal. Is it jet sweeps? Or do you come to the conclusion that, hey, it's not going to work? What do you do as a coach to make that thing work?
Well, we're not coming to the conclusion it's not going to work. He's ours. He's in the building. We're paying him. And we're going to work some release patterns. Sean knows this. Tighten the alignments. Help him maybe with some stack releases. And then also, and I also want to go back and look at some Chicago stuff and incorporate maybe some of those routes he ran from the slot. He was a guy that ran the spears, the sails, and some of those second level routes pretty well. I don't know that anyone ever saw him as a real great transitional player like Kupp. The reason Kupp gets open is not just because he can run fast, but he can stop fast. And that's how he creates separation. And so with Allen, let's put together a few reels of things that we've seen him do well. I know Matt can throw some of those throws. And then, you said it best. When the opponent begins to feel like all you have are a couple guns left in the fortress, they begin to creep closer and closer.
Yeah.
And so we've got to find a way to back them off.
Yeah. Finally, as an offensive guy, the Wildcat took this league by storm for about 12 games. I watch Philadelphia, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it works. It's productive. It's hard to duplicate when you prepare for him. And the offensive line is getting a great push. Sean, I look at Philadelphia, and I think that offense is a handful. What do you make of it?
Yeah, and I would agree 100%. Our last 2 times where we played Philadelphia, I don't know that we stopped them yet. They do such a good job. They gain a half a man in their blocking scheme because the quarterback can be a part of the run scheme. And so whenever you watch them run the ball, and, if we were the linemen on that team, you and I, we'd be happy because we'd love our angles. Because you'd say, oh, we get to double team down on this 3 tech. Yeah, we like that block. So you get good leverage because of the scheme. You have good players that have good leverage because of the scheme.
Right.
And then you have a quarterback that I really think has come into his own in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're going to have to throw it some. And he's proven, I think 2 weeks ago when we saw him on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, it was a huge night in a game for him where we saw him take a step on the field, and with that, you knew the confidence was growing. And so they're very well coached on offense, and I think they're probably, if you were to poll 32 defensive coordinators, just off the record, who would you like to see least? Philly would be at the top.
Yeah, and that offensive line is a handful. All right, I'm not telling you where he's at. It's just a great food city, a great city, and he's going into a Hall of Fame there. It's Sean Payton. We love seeing him. And, Coach, as always, we got smarter. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.